Hi everyone. This is Bhavna from Money Saving Divorce, and today I'm chatting to Nita. Nita is a single mum. She has a daughter aged 12 today. Thank you, Nita, for taking out time today to be with us when you have a birthday party planned. And I know you've got a lot of 12-year-olds around at your place. Nita is a procurement manager for a pharmaceutical company. And as I said, she's got a daughter who's aged 12, and she has a little dog called Storm, who is 3 years old. Now, the reason why Nita is here is because she's got a story to share. And I think there's so much she can tell you about how she got through this time and how you also could take some inspiration and help yourself during divorce as well. So welcome, Nita. So nice to have you here. Thank you for joining us.
That's my pleasure.
So really what I want to do is just have a chat, and if you could share some of your story, a little bit about how it was, and something that might help someone watching this going through it. So firstly, this decision is so difficult to make, and I remember finding it really tough just to make that first decision. I mean, obviously things are difficult in a marriage for many years before you even start thinking about ending the marriage. But it still took me so many years to get to that decision. And I remember it was agony just deciding. And even when I decided, it was agony. How was it for you?
Probably exactly the same as what you've just described. But if I just start by life now, first of all, it's fantastic. So if I'd realized how good life was going to be post-divorce for me and my daughter, I'd have probably done this a long, long time ago. So, and that's why I wanted to focus on the now, because it is good. We're having the time of our lives. It's fantastic. It was a really hard decision. I had red flags probably before marriage. It was a love marriage, so I felt like I had to carry on. I went through the marriage. And if I think back to even 2016, I had such a bad experience with him and I wanted to divorce him. You and I actually met in 2017. And I remember saying to you at that point, at some point, I will contact you. I knew I had to get divorced, but I kept thinking, oh, maybe I can wait till my daughter's 18. Maybe I can get her another sibling because, she's an only child. And I kept thinking she needs another sibling. She didn't. She needs a mother that is strong and present, not someone that can't cope with life, all the stress that's going on in a marriage. So it was a very hard decision. And I kept lowering it. I went from 18 to, okay, I'll wait till she's 12. And then one day I remember thinking, she was around 9, 10. And I thought, would I let a man treat her like this? And my answer was no, I wouldn't. I wouldn't sit back and let her go through this. So that swayed me. And then from a selfish perspective, I thought, I've only got one go at life.
Yes.
I'm living my life through hell. I don't get to go back and live my life again. So for me, they were all things that made me think, no, this is the right thing to do. So it was a very hard decision though, initially. But once I made my mind up, and you probably remember that conversation,
yes,
2021, I called you. Once I made that decision, it was quite straightforward for me, because then I just knew I had to go through an incremental process and just had to take it in bite-sized chunks. I think that was what I found. I felt, oh no, it's going to be so overwhelming and I don't know which paperwork to do, but if I took it in small chunks, it was doable and manageable.
Yeah, you only need a couple of steps, don't you? And as long as you focus on just the things, it's almost, I always see it as a journey. We know that you're going to get to that other side. But if we try and look at the whole journey, it's overwhelming because there's twists and turns and lefts and rights. And you can't see the whole journey because we don't know what it's going to look like. But if you just look at literally the road ahead of you, a few steps ahead, you can just deal with that and move on, deal with that and move on. And that's how you actually did it, which was brilliant. But I just wanted to ask you a question. Like, you were worried about your daughter, and I remember feeling exactly the same. I hear people saying this to me all the time, that I can't do this. I want to, but I'm really worried about what's going to happen to my children. They're going to be a
Don't be
mess.
worried.
Their mental health will be really bad. I can't do this for my children. I'll wait till they're 21 and they've left home. I ultimately didn't wait, even though I did worry about these things. I've got 3 girls, and I just thought, what if one of them come to me and say, Mum, I'm going through a challenging time, whatever that is in their lives. And I say to them, I know it's really tough to make this hard decision, but that hard decision I think is the best one for you. I felt like I couldn't say it unless I had also taken those steps, the hard
Yeah,
decisions that were best for us as a family.
yeah.
What was it that stopped you? Because you were also saying that you were waiting maybe till she was 18,
Oh
maybe
yeah, I felt that
50.
I needed to wait till she was 18 initially. You know, being an only child, I kept thinking, and very small family, I don't have lots of
Mm,
extended family. I kept thinking that this was family. You know, I'm in family. This is what life is. But I also knew that this is what she was thinking was normal. This is how mummies and daddies behave. I remember her stopping me in the car park and she saw a man shouting at a woman and she said, "Oh, look, mummy, all daddies shout at mums." And I remember thinking, oh my gosh, she's starting to think this is normal. And
yeah,
would I let a man treat her that way? No, I wouldn't. So if I won't let her do that herself, why am I letting someone do this to me? And I was very independent before I met my ex. I became a shell of myself during my marriage. And I just knew that that wasn't me anymore. I'd lost my identity
yeah,
completely. And I needed to get back to being a strong person. So at least she can be proud of the fact that I'm a singer. Well, you know, we dance around to the single woman song now and everything because, you know, she sees it as a positive thing. So I'm glad that we've done it. But yeah, well, it was hard at the time. You
yeah.
think it's going to be hard for your child. After the initial shock, that was it. Literally that day after that, she was very used to me being the primary carer anyway. Nothing changed. I was there for
Mm,
her. That didn't change.
yeah. And as long as things don't change in her life, she's happy. And actually, what you're doing is living your truth,
Yeah,
and you're teaching her to live her truth, her authentic life, whatever that means for you and whatever that means for her. It's a really good lesson for them, isn't it? To see
I think
mom
so.
taking on a challenge like this and
Mm.
still progressing through because
And
it's
you
the
know,
right decision.
yeah, no, absolutely. And you'll be surprised how many women have been through this. You don't think they have. So, you know, out of a school friend, she's got a number of friends that have been through it. And you'll be surprised how many women want to do it. And now that they've seen me come out the other end, a number of times I get stopped to say, oh, can we talk to you about such and such? It's amazing how many women are actually going through this. And if only they realize that life can be really good afterwards. You know, my daughter, we have sleepovers for our friends, she has parties, we go on holiday. She does probably more than she did before with a father in the house.
And I think that's because you are happy within yourself,
Yeah.
and she's not living in a situation that is difficult.
Mm.
And it doesn't matter what happened during your marriage, but ultimately she sees a happy household within your home. And when she's with her dad, she sees a happier person there.
Yeah.
And that for her makes her feel more balanced. And I think she's going to appreciate that hard that you had to go through to
Mm-hmm.
get to life on this side. And
Yeah.
I absolutely agree. That's how it has been for me as well. That life has been beautiful. I feel at peace. I feel joy. I feel in control. And the children haven't been affected like I thought they were going to be, because I thought they would drop out of education, their mental health would be really bad, they wouldn't contribute to society, have all this fear, and none of it happened.
I think the fear is worse than what the reality actually is. They're very resilient. I mean, my daughter definitely was. I remember speaking to the school so they could support her, and she used to go off to this class once a week so she could express her thoughts. But she was actually fine. I had feedback, and it was like, no, she's actually fine. And I was having a conversation with one of my friends recently, and she actually thought she had heard me say I was getting back with my ex. We got home and she said, oh, Mum, are you getting back with Dad? So I thought, okay, I'm going to test the water, a year on, I'm going to test the water. How do you feel if we did? Oh, no, I really like it as it is. It's fine. We're good. So, that just gave me everything, the reassurance a year later for her to be able to say, yeah, everything's fine.
Yeah. And my girls told me that as well, that we think you made the best decision. This is the right decision, not just for us, but for you as an individual. And now when we look at Dad and we look at you, we can't imagine that you were ever together. You're so different. And, I'm 15 years on and they still say the same thing.
Yeah.
And actually, I think it's helped them with their relationships, because I'm with somebody else and we live together. And we had to have these difficult conversations about what if a relationship comes to an end. And it's not easy because, we're happy and we hope it's forever. But I had to say to them, if things do come to an end, and if it did, I'm going to be fine. Yes, it might be, it might be a bit painful. It might be a bit difficult, but I'm going to survive it. So don't be scared of things changing. So all of this is a life lesson for our children when we come out of it. Okay. And
I think so.
Where you were and where you've got to is absolutely amazing. And I will definitely touch on that at the end. And you can really tell us what life is like for you and your daughter and Storm, because actually that paints a picture. It shows people that it's even better than we thought it was going to be, which is
absolutely
amazing. I wanted to take you back a step. So you've made this decision. And what happens after that for you? Because you've decided this is definitely going to happen.
Yeah.
Did you then start divorce proceedings? What did you do in the meantime? And who did you work with?
Okay, so once I made my decision, I didn't actually tell my ex for probably about 6 months. And that's because I wanted to get all my ducks in a row. I worked with you. You supported me, guided me through the whole process, which was fantastic. I worked on your program, and it really helped me because it just helped me break things up into small chunks, move forward, come back to you, reassess where I was in the process, and keep moving to the end goal. But the reason why I took those 6 months in between was very much to make sure I understood all my financials, get everything that I could possibly done in place. So I was still getting some building work done in the house, and it sounds very calculating, but I got everything completed to the point where I could divorce someone and there was going to be no external disruption in my life. It commercially needed to get all my finances in place, so I understood where the money was coming in, where it was going out. I remember sitting down with you and I said, oh, the insurance man owes us, I think, £54 or £64, something like that. And that was the detail that I had. And I'd say that to anyone, if they're going through the process. I mean, I love Excel. Just get an Excel sheet, just put everything in there, anything that you can think of that, you've got commitments to money-wise for your child, just put everything in there, because it helps you build up a picture of, how much you can afford and all this kind of stuff. And that really helped. So I took 6 months and I waited till the time was right to tell him. And then I eventually told him that. And I think initially you and I had discussed it. I didn't go in, I work in procurement, so it can be very easy for me to just go in with, this is what's happening.
Yes.
I went in with a very soft approach. And I said, actually, you've been talking about this. I think you're doing it's the right thing. Let's get divorced. I think no, I didn't use the word divorced. I think let's call it a day. So he thought we would just go down the separation route. until I was ready and I got the paperwork ready, and it's no, actually we're going to get divorced. So it was always being that one step ahead, which I think really did help. And also from a procurement point of view, I had to tone myself down, because when it's personal, it's very easy to go in and just try and lay all your cards on the table, which actually wasn't going to be the right thing for me to do.
And we have to be careful about the other person's psychology, the way the other person works, what their triggers are, what if they hear it this way, how will they react? And I had somebody say to me yesterday even, but does that mean that if we're always worrying about how they're going to react, does that mean that they are the focus? And I said, no, I just want to get you through this.
The end goal.
We've got a priority list. You've given me that list. And I always work from a space of what is your priority. We know what your priority is. You have got this vision strong in your mind. Your ultimate aim is to go from that to that in the easiest
without going to court, which I know was the main thing for me as well. So how I got to that point, if it meant that I had to soften my approach and use some more politer words while speaking to him, then fine, because my end goal was there, and that's what I wanted to get to.
And that's the difference I think you get with me than just working with someone who does a legal process like a solicitor, because they're not going to tell me what he's like. What's the dynamic?
You got to know me, which really helped. You knew my personality. I'd explained my ex's personality, so you helped me work through that. And I remember a couple of times where you stopped me from just saying, don't go and say this just yet. Just wait, let him come back to you, or say it in this way. And remember, I negotiate for a living, but you stopped me at certain points and said, actually, just try this approach, just do it this way, because you want him to be, amenable to what you're saying, as opposed to just getting his back up and him closing down.
Yeah, sometimes people get defensive when they think it's all your ideas, and you are pushing the narrative, and you want this and you want that, when it almost feels like they can push the narrative a bit and they have got a level of control. You have to let someone feel like that, so that they come back and they're ready to negotiate, because you can close somebody down. And I guess we're negotiating around the emotions rather than a commercial negotiation.
That's actually quite hard to do.
It is really hard to do for you, because you negotiate for a living. And I have to negotiate in a different way, depending on who we're dealing with. Sometimes there is a straight aggression that you have to take, depending on what's happening. But to try and get this through, we have to use.
And I think that did happen at one point for us on the financial side. I think we went in softly, and my memory serves me that at some point we said, no, this is it. This is as best as you're going to get. Take it or leave it. Yeah. So I think we went softly, and then at some point we did go in with, this is it now.
Yeah, because otherwise they feel like they're completely driving it. There has to be a point where you stop that and go, I've gone as far as I can go. So I think the negotiation went really well for you, because you are very coachable. You really listen and lean into what you're being told. And it doesn't mean that you have to listen to everything and take it all on board, but you listen, you reflect, and then you choose the best way for you, which is just the best. I think you did it so well. But the other thing that I found with you is that you are detail orientated. You were always on the detail. And if I gave you something to do, you did it. Generally on the call, and you were back saying, I've done it.
Yeah, absolutely.
You didn't procrastinate, which it's so easy to do during this time. And I did it during my own divorce. I know what to do, and I was putting it off.
Yeah.
Whereas you didn't do that, did you?
No, not at all, because I think this process actually is so well structured, and your program was very well structured. But you still have to take a bit of accountability yourself. No one's going to do everything for you. And I've said this openly, that's great, work with Bhavna, but you have to take some accountability as well. Bhavna doesn't know your finances. You need to know your finances. You need to come back with the actual details so she can help you move forward. And I think that works for me because, you know, you gave me this, Nita, you got to go and complete this exercise or whatever it was. Fine, you've given me a task, I can do it. And that really, really helped. And it helped for me to keep within the time frame that I wanted to work in.
Yes.
So I really made sure, you know, my parents were supporting me to get through the process. And I had that drive to make sure it worked for me, you know, from a process point of view, and also from a parent's point of view who were helping me financially to do this.
You were lucky with the support that you have.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
it is important to have support. And obviously I was there, but I'm
Yeah.
not there all the time.
Mhm.
What kind of support did you have? Your parents are amazing. They were there for you. Did you have
Yeah.
other people around you?
I had only a few friends that actually were aware of what was going on. Not many people actually realised what was going on in my life. So there were a few friends that I used to speak to. My parents actually didn't even know anything was going on till probably around the time that I actually spoke to you in 2021. They had no idea what was going on in my marriage. The support I found was all actually other things. I used to dance, I used to walk my dog. So that helped me as well. So talking to friends, obviously the professional support through yourself, having parents. My dad would check the paperwork as well with me, but taking that all away, walking storm, dancing, that used to just keep my focus. I could go to dance and just forget everything for a little bit and then come back with a clear head to move on to the next bit.
And would you suggest that to people? Because it's a really emotional time.
Yeah.
And your mental health can really suffer. And mine really did. And actually, my children had issues as well mentally. And so I had to find lots of ways of I wasn't even balanced, but just keeping myself going. What did you do during that time? Like, I know you were dancing, you were walking storm. Did you do anything else?
To be honest, that used to take up most of my time because I've got a young child running around after her, working full time. I work full time, having a dog and dancing. That was pretty much it. I actually, it's funny because while I was going through this process, I thought I'm going to have so much time on my hand. I'm not going to know what to do with it. I signed up to do an online tarot course to keep myself busy. I've been too busy to actually do anything, you know. I'm just so busy doing everything else, going out with friends and stuff like that. That's really helped. Not everyone knew what was going on in my life. Only a close set of friends actually were there to support me from that point of view. But I just have a wide circle of friends that I was socialised with.
And do you mind me asking why did you keep it just to a select few? Was there a reason for that?
I think initially I didn't realise what I was going through myself. And it sounds really stupid because you read things on Facebook or something and you think, oh God, you can't, that's clear what you're going through. But when you're going through it yourself, you don't really realise what's actually happening.
Yeah.
And then it's almost like a little bit of embarrassment as well, that actually your life's a bit messed up. So you don't feel like telling people what's going on. They saying that my closest friends, they always had an inkling that something wasn't quite right, but they weren't quite sure. But one day when I actually just said, look, this is what's actually going on and I'm going to divorce him, and that was probably 6 months before my ex actually knew as well, it was a weight off my mind. It meant that had someone that I could just, there was a couple of times where I was in tears and I was like, just let's go out for a walk. Let's just go out for a walk.
Did you find there was any judgment from people? Did that stopped me actually making the decision? Is what are people going to think? What will society think? What will my family think? And obviously friends. It did stop me for a while, and then I thought, I don't care anymore. I can't do this anymore. Did you have anything like that coming up for you?
I didn't really think anything that from my family side, so I wasn't worried because I'm a very small family. It was just my parents that I was concerned about. I don't think so because I just got to the point where I'm just going to do it. So yeah, maybe years ago I was thinking, you know, she needs to be in this family and all this stuff, but no,
That didn't come up for you.
I just got to the point where I don't care what people think.
Yeah.
I don't think it's as blatant as that. I don't care. For me, my priority is my daughter and my dog. I really don't care what people think. Had my
And I guess,
parents not even supported me, I don't care. It's about my priority, as in my children, and I class my dog as my child as well. So yeah, they're my priority.
that's really interesting, isn't it? Because some people don't have that support. Their family, their parents, their siblings don't support them
Yeah,
through
I've
this.
heard that. Yeah.
And you had got to that point where you were just like, this is going to happen regardless.
It would have happened regardless, absolutely. You know, that's at my age, I'm fully capable of going through a process. It's great to have that support, and I was fortunate I had it. But once I made my mind up, there was no turning back at all. I was just going to get through it to the end goal.
That's brilliant. Like it is, you were like keeping your head down and just getting on with it. And it's almost like you just narrowed your focus.
Well, I don't know if you remember, I actually found it hard once I actually got divorced, because it was like, okay, where's the process gone? I'm so used to, I've got a task to do this week, or you know, calls to do. Once it was all done and dusted, I think for about 2 or 3 weeks, I found it quite tricky, and I kept joining your calls just to listen in, not actually have anything to say, to wean myself off into some sort of new normality.
Yes.
And then suddenly you find your life again, and actually it's fine. But for a couple of weeks, I was a little bit lost, which is understandable. And then after that, I've never wanted to join your calls again. After that, I've been fine.
Yeah, you've been absolutely fine. I actually think people say to me that when I get my final order and it's all done, I'm going to celebrate and I'm going to be so happy. And my own experience was I was planning to have a party and a celebration because it had been so difficult. My mental health was in a mess. The children weren't seeing their dad for various reasons. I was homeless. And I finally got a home, moved in. I'd been homeless, sleeping on people's floors.
Oh, wow.
And when I got to moving into my house and the final order arrived, there was only a few weeks difference. And I should have been celebrating, but I just couldn't. I sat at home and I reflected. I had a glass of wine on my own, and I just needed to be by myself. There wasn't that excitement and that sort of party feeling. And I hear from so many people that that is quite common. How you were feeling was quite common. The level of grief, isn't it?
Yeah, I think through the process, it was fine. I was, you know, motoring ahead. That was fine. Once we told our daughter, I did go through a little bit of grieving.
Yeah.
Sadness for her, not myself, because I was going through the, you know, to the end result, and I knew I was going to be happy, but I was sad for my daughter. I think the first few months after he had left the house and it was all going through finalized, I started painting everything in my house. I just went through a phase of painting furniture. Probably took me a few months, and then I started to realize, actually, I'm enjoying my life now. And then I started having dinner parties, started socializing again, and then I haven't really looked back since then.
And that's what you're after is like, isn't it?
Yeah,
That, you know, life
that's what I go
after
back to. You've only got one go at life. And I realized my life was being wasted. Yes, I was there for my daughter, but I'm still there for my daughter.
Yeah.
But I'm now happy and I'm there for my daughter, as opposed to being miserable and scared, I guess. Whereas that's now changed. So I'm still doing everything I would have done for her, but in a happier way.
I feel like when I obviously look at you, and I always feel so proud of the wonderful people that I work with, because I feel like we've gone on a journey together.
Yeah, absolutely. What a journey. I call it a journey.
Yeah, it's been a journey just seeing you from that point to this point. And there was a time where I look at you and I think you've stepped into your true power. And I feel like you are this person that lives authentically. You are living so powerfully, and you bring so much joy to yourself, to the people around you, and to Storm and your daughter. And now, I look at that and I think, what else could you want? You've
No,
built this beautiful life for yourself, and you do so much.
yeah. No, we're happy. We are happy. I call them my little gang, and I'm happy. And we've been on so many holidays now, and I think I mentioned this. The first international holiday we did, I think 24, me and my daughter, and I felt so happy just walking into a restaurant because she had made friends, she'd gone off and made friends and everything, and being able to walk into a restaurant and just saying a table for one. I felt so proud, so happy, relieved to be able to go and sit in a restaurant, people watch, read a book, look at my phone, and just not have to be fake at all. Was such a nice experience to do. And yeah, I'm quite happy to do that.
It sounds like it. It sounds like you've found peace.
Yeah.
And it shows in everything that you say and everything that you do, and the way that you're coming across, even
Thank
that
you.
you have finally got to contentment and peace after that journey that you've been through. You chose you, and you haven't done it harshly. You haven't been horrible to anyone. It's okay to choose yourself without being unkind. And I feel like you've done it that way. You haven't been unkind to anyone. You've done it gently. You've done it in a way that the whole family has come out of it really well.
Yeah, absolutely.
Do you have any final thoughts? What advice would you give to somebody, anyone watching this that is about to step into this journey? What would you say to them?
I would probably just say don't be afraid of the future, because you mold your future. And for me, hindsight, I wish I'd done it years ago. If I had, think back to when my daughter was 2, I waited till she was about 10. I could have been living this life for all these years, and she could have been living this life for all these years. Don't be afraid. It's fine. I'm happy.
It's brilliant.
I wouldn't change it. I wouldn't actually change it. I'm glad, I had to go through my marriage to have my daughter.
Yeah.
I'm absolutely 100% happy that I'm out. And the number of women that ask me, because they can see it, my dance class, they can see the transformation of how I've become. The number of women that have stopped me and said, oh, we're going through this. We're staying for the children, we're scared for the children. That's like, don't be scared for your children. Be strong for your children, because this is what they think is a normal marriage otherwise, and that's not right.
Yeah. And be scared if you stay when it's so toxic. Be scared for them then, because they are seeing something that they shouldn't see. And you just don't know how that's going to affect them. So for you, you saw that and you took the steps. But I think the essential part of your journey was the preparation that you did. You went in feeling more confident when you had to say those words. We'd sort of planned out what you were going to say and how you were going to say it.
Absolutely.
I loved the preparation that you did beforehand to get yourself to clarity, to take out the question marks. Because once you understand, you feel a bit better taking that step.
Yeah, I think for me, it was having that clear, what do I want out of this? What am I willing to give up? Which wasn't actually a lot. And then just having my act together regarding what does it take to run this house. It was just really understanding all those little bits and joining it up, which meant that when I did approach him, I was armed with a lot of detail behind, which I knew he didn't have, because I used to run all this side of things. So it helped, really, really did help.
Yeah, I think that genuinely put you in a really good position mentally as well. And
I think mentally, it gives you confidence, because you know what you're talking about. You're one step ahead. But it does mean you have to take a bit of accountability yourself, responsibility to find out things. Sometimes you don't know everything. I had to go searching for things to find out. There was little bits of details I wasn't sure about. So you have to do a little bit of detective work to get to the point where you do understand what's there, or what you can work without knowing as well.
Yeah, and you did have a bit of that as well. You had to,
there was a bit that I just
didn't get clarity on. You had to just work with it without pushing that I need to know everything.
Yeah, because that would have just pushed him the other way, and we probably would have ended up in court.
Yes.
Whereas I just kept focusing on, okay, what can I give and what can I take, and get to the same end goal.
Yeah. And you definitely got to the end goal that you wanted.
Yeah, absolutely.
All the priorities you set, all the sort of vision that you had, you managed to achieve that, which is absolutely brilliant. And I think that's testament to the person that you are.
Thank you.
So it was so lovely working with you, guiding you through it. And I'm privileged that I was part of that journey with you.
Thank you, Bhavna. It was really good.
Thank you for coming. So lovely to speak to you. And I think that your story is definitely going to inspire.
I hope so.
much.
I hope so. If it helps someone, then that's really good. Really good.
That's great. Thank you, Nita.
Thank you. Bye, Bhavna.